Hi! In this video, we're going to have a look at CheckCentral's Datto BCDR integration. This integration will automatically create checks for backup jobs in your cloud-based Datto BCDR environment and then regularly pull Datto for recent backup activities. We'll step through the configuration steps necessary to get started. We'll head to the Direct Integrations page located under the Services menu. We'll click the Add Direct Integration button. We'll click Datto BCDR from the list of available integrations. This will present us with the new Direct Integration wizard. The first thing we need to do is name our direct integration. In this example, we'll just stick with the default name. Next, we'll need to switch over to our Datto Partner Portal environment in order to create a new API key. Log into your Datto Partner Portal. We'll navigate to the Integrations page. We'll make sure we're on the API Keys tab, and then we'll click on the Create API Key button. We'll provide a name for our API key and then click Create. We'll copy both the public key and the private key. We'll need those in a second. Click OK. We'll now switch back to CheckCentral and continue there. In the public key field, we'll paste the public key that we copied from the Datto portal. In the private key field, we'll paste in the private key that we copied from the Datto portal. We'll click Next to continue. We're presented with the Group Assignment page. This is where we'll set which group our checks will be assigned to. If we have a look at the default check group section, we'll see that by default, CheckCentral will assign new checks to groups based on the organization name value of the backup job. Further down, we can see that if there isn't an existing group that matches the organization value, CheckCentral will go ahead and create a new group using that value and assign the check to that group. These can all be customized to accommodate your use case, but we'll stick with these default settings for this example. Underneath the default check group section, there's a section called Customize Group Assignment. This allows us to manually map organizations in Datto to CheckCentral groups. You can also click on the Auto Match Groups button to have CheckCentral attempt to automatically map these organizations to groups. Once we've set up our group assignments, we'll click on the Save and Create Check Definition button to continue with our setup. The check definition setup allows us to choose exactly what jobs we're having CheckCentral monitor, how those checks are identified, and how we should be notified when there are issues. We'll start by setting up our matching rules. By default, CheckCentral will create checks for all jobs it discovers. You can create rules to only include specific jobs if needed, but in this example, we'll create checks for all jobs. We'll click Next to continue. We're presented with the Check Identification page. This allows us to configure how we want our checks named and what labels to apply. We'll start with the check name template. By default, the checks will be named based on dynamic values pulled from the Datto integration. In this case, the device name and type being backed up. This can be edited if needed, but we'll stick with the default settings here for this example. Next, we can set what label will be applied to the check. By default, the label will be set to the integration name. This can be changed if needed, but we'll stick with the default for this as well. The Check Group section allows us to override the group mappings we set up during the previous steps, but in this example, we don't need to make any changes. We'll click Next to continue. The Notifications page lets us configure how we want to be notified when there are issues. We can choose to be emailed, receive a text message, receive push notifications via the CheckCentral mobile application, as well as several other options. If you've configured other notification services or ticketing systems, those can be selected as well. Additional options to further refine when alerts are sent are also available, but for our example, we'll stick with the defaults. We'll click Next to continue. The final page shows us a summary of what checks will be created, and we can see what the name of our checks will look like, as well as what label they'll be assigned. Since everything looks good, we'll go ahead and click on the Save button. We'll be taken to the Integration Overview page. From here, we can see a list of backup jobs that have been discovered by our integration and view the resulting checks. This integration will update data on a regular schedule, and we can also manually request an update by clicking on the Update button located at the top of the page. If we refresh the page here, we can see that some activities have been created, meaning CheckCentral has received some backup status information from Datto. If we open up one of our checks here, we can see the new activity under the Recent Activities table. We can click on the latest activity we received here to view the backup status information CheckCentral received from Datto. We've now completed configuring our Datto integration in CheckCentral. CheckCentral will automatically create checks for any new backup jobs it discovers from our Datto environment and update those regularly. As always, CheckCentral will keep an eye on things and let us know if there are any issues.